People can continue to comment on my life without knowing my journey. And that's absolutely okay. My loyalty is to my nation. My loyalty is to ensuring the values I believe in. I do believe it is about issues, and it is time that the youth is heard, and especially women are heard, which is not happening in the parliament. We see bills are passed within 5-7 minutes, 8 minutes, 9 minutes, 10 minutes, and not much discussion happens. Why this insecurity about having opposition's voice? Or look at the embarrassment they face with the farm laws. I would always say regional parties give you a lot more scope to work, and they trust you and they stand by your decisions. People say, oh, look, she changed the political party. Yes. I'm not the first. I won't be the last. Shiv Sena entrusted me with so much more responsibility in the sheer belief that I am someone who needs to be heard. We are definitely contesting some seats in Uttar Pradesh. That is a given. And yes, we aspire for a more national role. Keep moving forward.
So thank you so much, Priyanka, for finding time for the podcast. It's an utmost pleasure for me to have you with us.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me on India Podcast.
A young appeal is there with you. So thank you so much.
I'm so glad that youngsters can connect, and that actually probably keeps the vibrancy alive.
I would like to begin asking with how do we look at your political story? Now, by that I mean, was it difficult to be in the political space all this while, maybe a decade, 2 decades nearly now, as a woman politician in India? How was your journey?
Politics per se in the country is a tough space to be in. Yeah. And obviously the trust deficit that is between elected representatives and the citizens of this country is also huge. The entire perception of politicians is also something which doesn't go down easily with the citizens. In fact, in my own family, I did find a challenge convincing them that this is what I wanted to do and this is how I wanted to contribute towards nation building. Yes. My husband was like, what are you even doing? And how will you even try and, break through with having absolutely no family background, not having, tons of money to be able to splurge to explore this area. And obviously the entire negativity that comes with women being in politics and the kind of portrayals even movies have done about women politicians is extremely unfortunate. So those were lots of issues when I started out. But once I started working in my political capacity, I only realized that it was more important for people who feel strongly about the nation, have strong ideas about nation building, especially how women are perceived in society. It becomes important that you are a part of mainstream politics, and the politics touches our lives in every manner possible. So of course it is difficult. It is not an easy journey because there's no roadmap, there's no vision. I would say not a roadmap which applies to all, right? So in a corporate job, you at least know that from assistant level you'll rise higher in rank. But here you don't know. Sometimes you seem to be like going absolutely in the right direction, and the next day you're absolutely pulled down by people. So it is also very public profile, because of which it adds to a lot more stress as well, that you have to be on your guard. You have to be ensuring that you are the kind of role model that people would want to look at and would want to your role model and your struggles should inspire others to be able to learn lessons as well as choose politics as a career.
But was it like completely opposite to what you perceived when you started off? Like you thought it'll be very difficult, it turned out to be easier. How was it in your experience? Was it a nightmare or like?
No, not a nightmare at all. It was a moment of learning for me also, where you come with, many times people come with a preconceived notion of how political people are. And a lot of that was broken. I saw lots of members of parliament, elected representatives who work 24/7, 365 days. But the perception, public perception is always like, ye log koi kaam hi nahi karta hai. So there are many challenges on
Yeah.
every, I would say, in every level of work. And many times people, because of awareness, aren't sure where to take their problems to. So whether it would be a municipal level work, whether it would be assembly level work, or whether it would be a member of parliament there to address this. So those were things even I learned. There is a civics textbook learning that you have, and there's a practical
Yes.
learning that you have. So I don't look at any experience as a nightmare. I only look at it as a learning from which either you take positives out or keep the negativity out, and try and move forward. But my only mantra is to keep moving forward.
That's so nice, Priyanka, because the kind of experience we have seen you go through doesn't seem normal for any other woman to really, easily stand by. Coming up to the next understanding, I think recently what people have questioned, I think you've got a lot of people questioning your loyalty and, how do you explain or defend yourself? You must have got tired. You have given your explanation for it. But if I have to ask you today, how do you answer this, that people say, how do we trust your loyalty any further? Any situation you can take and say that it's not going to work in my favor, I'm not standing by this. So how do you explain that?
Actually, people can continue to comment on my life without knowing my journey. And that's absolutely okay. And that's absolutely okay to question every single thing about me,
Yeah.
because I do have a very public profile. But there are certain decisions you take in the interest of your own values, your own principles, and
True.
in the ability to understand that yes, you can contribute a lot more by being vocal and having that position of strength.
Hmm.
I'm grateful that most of the people in this country understand that and have stood by me. There are
Okay.
those 10, 15 odd people or 20 odd people. They will not rain on my parade, and they don't impact me. But all I would say is absolutely questions are to be asked. My loyalty is to my nation. My loyalty is to ensuring the values I believe in, whether it is about women's rights, whether it is about the environment, whether it is about the youth of our country, whether it's about education, whether it is about health. I will continue to keep my nation first, irrespective of politics. And now about political platforms, and people say, oh, look, she changed the political party.
Yes.
I'm not the first. I won't be the last
Wow.
who's done what she has.
True.
And I have done it. I would say my life, whether in with my previous party or in this, continues to be on issue based politics.
Okay.
And as far as I'm concerned, I think my party, Shiv Sena, was, entrusted me with so much more responsibility in the sheer belief that I am someone who needs to be heard. And they have backed me to the hilt to be able to do what I'm doing. So a
Yes.
lot of who you are is also by the kind of support system that you manage to have, and a political party which enables you rather than disempowers you. So you can have many people spouting this, oh, we want more women participation, or we want 50% reservation. I would want to ask these national parties and these political parties that how much are they working in enabling an environment where we will have more women in positions of power within their own organizations. So I do believe it is about issues, and it is time that the youth is heard, and especially women are heard. And if I happen to be one of those voices, which my party has enabled me to do, I'm totally committed to it.
But there's an interesting thing to point out here, Priyanka. You're talking about values and you also believe in issue based politics. Now, what is that surety you give to yourself, your own protection of values further? Because we are in a country where you know how men and women still don't stand for equality in every way. We don't understand men and women can get equal at any point at all in all respect. So, do you fear I might face this again? Because we can't predict or assume you would not have any issues faced by men in the party that you're currently uh, being part of, and how do you protect yourself and this against this value and issue based politics that you have stepped in and you quite openly talk about? What is your self
Okay, so
confirmation there?
I always feel any political party which is serious about women's issues will stand up for its party's women.
Okay.
And for me, that particular decision came after a lot of churning in my mind, and after a period of what had happened, action taken, action withdrawn to reinstate people who
Yes.
had misbehaved.
True.
So for me, it then became about what I stand for. And
Okay.
if my values aren't respected, my values and commitment to this cause, and what happened with me as a member of a political party, what happened to me was not worthy enough of action, then what am I even doing in politics?
Yes.
And how serious are political parties about addressing these issues? So, someone who is so vocal, someone who is speaking up on this, someone who has stood by it,
Yes.
cannot quietly back down to such kind
True.
of behavior.
Totally.
What
Totally
lesson am
agree.
I teaching my daughter? What lesson am I leaving behind for young girls who today look towards me as someone who could make a difference in politics? Today,
Yes.
Priyanka Chaturvedi stood by Suli Deal's bully by
Yes.
victims because she continues to believe that no woman should be silenced and no woman should be staying silent on this kind of behavior. And that is what I've always stood for. So that particular choice was made out of that conviction of belief that after giving them many chances to be able to address this, not being addressed. And
Yes.
that is when I took the decision I did. Now, second point of
Yes.
changing a political party, I realized that I wanted to work in the state of Maharashtra. And I
Yes.
also realized that I have worked hard and I've made a space for myself. I do not want to be footnote in the pages of political history of having another woman having come, broken some barriers, and again forgotten in history. Those were my 10 years. Those were my investment
Yes.
towards my commitment. And I would not allow anyone else to take that away from me. And that is why I chose to join another political party. And like I said, political parties decide accountability and how much respect they give to their members.
True.
And this party has stood by it. And I'm 100% certain if there is any misbehavior, and there have been many examples in the past that any single misbehavior that has been reported has been actioned upon. So zero tolerance to that kind of behavior. So I'm very confident that I have stood by those principles. I will continue standing by those principles, and no one would be able to mess around on
I
something
was
that
about
I
to
strongly
use
believe.
the word that no one can mess around with Priyanka Chaturvedi after the stand you've taken, because I think that stand itself has marked a space in history for you. Because I think it's very rare to see someone, you might be emotionally also attached as much to the party like they were to you. So to detach for the right is not an easy job to do. We had Mr. Tharoor on our show also, and he had very categorically stated or spoken, which you have also spoken about, is about how many bills are being discussed in parliament, especially with the ruling party. Not even less than 20% take up to the discussion and they go getting passed. You have raised it up in various ways. You recently raised about with the child marriage bill also for lack of representation. How do you think the scenario can really change now that you're in the parliament and you're voicing yourself? You're okay with suspension yet standing by. So how do you think things can change for good?
So I was firstly, I was suspended for one session, which is the
Yes,
winter
winter
session.
session.
And I did not take it, I fought for it. I fought against it simply because I was not, like I said, not the first politician to leave a political party and join another. Same way, not the first politician in this country who went to the well of the house. And neither will I be the last in case democracy survives in this country. I
Yes,
won't be the last. There will be opposition. There will be people coming into the well of the house. And if you take these retrospective measures, which are above constitution, then I will raise my voice. I will continue to speak up for the people of this country. So suspension aside, and I protested it, and I was standing out. I continued the protest for the entire session, along with the other 12 members of parliament who were suspended. But in terms of discussion of bills, I must say a lot of bills, because of the sheer majority that the Bharatiya Janata Party enjoys, they have eroded the basic ethos of what a democracy is about, which is
okay.
allow dissent to happen, allow that discussion to happen, let the country hear it, and then take a decision. This is how you
True.
move forward. So let all sides be heard. We must understand, even if the numbers of opposition is less, it's much lesser than the Bharatiya Janata Party, the ruling party. But all of these
Yes,
people also come from constituencies that people have voted them as their representatives.
yes,
So their voice needs to be heard, which is not happening in the parliament. We see bills are passed within 5, 7 minutes, 8 minutes, 9 minutes, 10 minutes, and not much discussion happens. So I'm hoping that as a political party, which has also seen from a two-member party in the parliament to what it stands today, it should be less insecure of itself. Why this
Okay.
insecurity about having opposition's voice? Or look at the embarrassment they faced with the farm laws.
Yes. They
They
had to
passed it
withdraw.
in a hurry. They were forced to withdraw it 1 year
But
down the
they
line.
explain it saying that it goes on and on for years and years. So they thought take some decision, quick decision also sometimes is the right decision than just prolonging it and
No,
sitting discussing it.
no. Let me tell you one thing. Deciding time of discussion, like let's say 7 hours for a particular debate, is not going to take years. Once you've presented, tabled the bill in the parliament, once it has been tabled,
Yes.
you allow the opposition to speak. Let them be heard. Why do you have, this business advisory committee where every member of every leader of political parties
True.
attend these meetings? That is how parliamentary process works. That is the job of the parliamentary affairs minister. These are the bills that we're discussing. There could be issues that the opposition has they would want to discuss. So if you are so secure, you have number of seats, you have people's wish and will to see you in the government,
Hmm.
then why are you so insecure for a debate and discussion? I must say this entire concept of, oh, things keep pending on for years and years, and it's such a great decision that they are passing it in 15 minutes. This 15 minutes allotted can
Yes.
destroy 15 years of India's life growth story.
Okay.
Let's also remember that. And any bill that is passed, I would always say, should be discussed at length so that we do not leave any loopholes in the system to, pass something in, a haste and repent in leisure. So
Okay.
I'd rather debate. I'd rather have a discussion. Cabinet cannot thrust it on us. You cannot bring it via ordinance route. Let democracy prevail. And that is what stronger democracies do and stronger political parties should do.
I don't know about BJP being a good ruling party or not. We know your stand very clearly, but do you think they stood out more strong as opposition? Because I think opposing them has become difficult for everyone, every party leader we speak to. Have they stood their game sharp as an opposition rather than being a good ruling party? Is that how you would like to look at it?
I would want to say something that as far as the Bharatiya Janata Party is concerned, and yes, I must give it to them, that they are very disciplined in terms of when they were in the opposition or when they are in leadership role now in the treasury benches. They have this sense of discipline. They do not have the sense of questioning their leadership, etc. Right now, there is an opposition which is fragmented. Very honestly, you do not have all the political parties
Together.
talking
Enough.
together in one voice. There are issues dependent on state priorities as well. But the point is not who's performing better. The point is what issues are being brought forward. And are these issues worthy of a support? So
Okay.
today, if the opposition party spoke about farm laws being detrimental to the farmers, and it could have been better discussed by sending it to a select committee, maybe the government could have done that.
True.
Send it to a select committee, it would have saved itself some embarrassment, right? So if we say, oh, Pegasus is something which is a problem, and Pegasus is a problem today, every part of your life is up for someone stalking you. It becomes a challenge. So let's have a
Yes.
discussion on it. Why would you want to disrupt everything? So opposition needs to come together. That is a given. And with something which is so formidable in nature, how it is right now with the Bharatiya Janata Party, it has to be in a very strategic way.
True.
For that, it has to be a very united effort. Honestly.
So one question I have with Shiv Sena now that you are MP from Shiv Sena, and we are so happy to see you here with this party. How do you look at now? We have elections coming around just around the corner with so many states. Do you see Shiv Sena really wanting also to expand its wing in those core states we call the Northern Heartland? Because we see somewhere Shiv Sena take a very skeptic or a slow move around because being more regional. How are you looking at it? Coming from a national level again to a regional level party, how do you look at this?
No, I would always say regional parties give you a lot more scope to work, and
Okay.
they trust you and they stand by your decisions. I've never been more confident about who I am and what I can do simply because I have a political leadership which is not insecure, a political leadership which believes in getting the best out of its people.
True.
So that is one thing. The second part I would want to say is that yes, Shiv Sena is very keen on moving beyond Maharashtra. So we've just recently won a by-election outside of Maharashtra.
Yes.
And we are going to be contesting in Uttar Pradesh. We are contesting in Goa. These are two places that we are very serious about. It is a slow journey. We will not rush into something like we've seen other regional political parties do,
Yes.
rushing towards a state and then
Aam Aadmi
realizing that they
Party
have no.
and
Yeah,
yeah.
there are other parties also which are now out there, and we've realized they go in rush, and ultimately they are left figuring out what to do, and we don't want to end up dividing votes until and
True.
unless we're not sure about our own presence and our ability to be able to convert these votes. So we are definitely contesting some seats in Uttar Pradesh. That is a given. And Goa also is something we're looking forward to. And yes, we aspire for a more national role and to have more and more people join us from across the states.
Totally. Bringing you out of the political place, I would want to play a very short game with you, just a minute game. It's called Myths and Facts. You can justify it if you feel, or you can just tell it is a myth or a fact according to you. So it says that Priyanka tried to use, it can be harsh. So this is something we picked up from
Yeah,
our
yeah, it's
paper.
okay.
So
It's
don't take
okay.
it against us. It says
No, no.
Priyanka tried to use women of feminism card to get a better position and hence change her grounds. Myth or a fact?
It's definitely a myth because Priyanka has stood by women's issues, irrespective.
Great. We stand by that. Now BJP takes right step but fails correct process of implementation. Myth or a fact?
I would. I think it's actually much worse. Your intention could be right, but your policy shaping up is all wrong.
Action wrong.
So I'll call that a myth.
It's a myth. Shiv Sena trying to change the image from right-wing Hindutva party to a liberal one. It's a myth or a fact?
It again a myth because Shiv Sena continues to be a Hindutva party and liberal at the same time. Hinduism
Wow.
is about being liberal, and we would rather follow the Swami Vivekananda model of Hindutva and Hinduism as compared to the one that we see right now.
And the last one we have is, should we call Ms. Chaturvedi labeled as anti-Modi or lack of ideology? I don't know what kind of question is.
Okay. I would say, so that, what is it? Myth, fact? What
It's
was
actually, it
it?
does not fall in any of it. You can just
It
justify
doesn't.
you're anti-Modi or not. Did you really
No,
look at
actually, more than anti-Modi, I think
basically anti-Modi ideology? Is that your ideology?
anti-Modi ideology. I mean, what is that ideology?
I
I'm
don't know what
sorry.
people now perceive
I
about this.
They can continue to perceive whatever, but I will not be answerable to something like this because I do not have any personal grudge against Mr.
True.
Modi. I have a problem with how things are turning out for the nation in terms of economy, in
Yes.
terms of women's rights, in terms of legislation, in terms of becoming more authoritarian in nature by the virtue of being, coming with such overwhelming numbers. It does happen.
Yes.
So I personally have nothing against Mr. Modi. I'm sure his leadership has charmed the world, the country, and the country is voting for him. But I have problems with the policies that they're pushing
Yes.
forward, and their selective silences on issues that matter to the country. So that is something I'll keep talking about.
Some questions have come on the side, on the front of the media side, where they say that, do you think Bollywood is unfairly being targeted by media and the ruling party with the whole case of Aryan Khan, Sushant Singh, or even for that matter accusations of Shiv Sena for taking on Arnab or Kangna Ranaut? So how do you look at this whole Bollywood versus parties and media going around?
Actually, it's not Bollywood versus parties.
Okay.
It is a very concentrated, well strategized attack to spread falsehoods against a government which is non-BJP. Maharashtra happens to be one of the most powerful states in this country.
Yes.
If a
capital.
Bharatiya Janata Party to stay out of it hurts Bharatiya Janata Party no end. And that is why it's a very well coordinated, synchronized attack using props like Sushant Singh Rajput's unfortunate death, using props like Aryan Khan, and making this about Maharashtra, and starting to attack the people of Maharashtra, starting to attack Maharashtrians and Maharashtra's values and its beliefs, only for their politics. So media, unfortunately today, stands at the precipice of having collapsed totally to the whims and fancies of someone who has become so authoritarian in nature, is not willing to be questioned, is not willing to be answerable. And that is the unfortunate reality of the fourth pillar of democracy, which is being used as a tool to spread more falsehoods. But
even against the agencies, the ED or the agencies.
So today, I don't think any Indian, even if they're supporting Mr. Modi, would also hesitate to say that yes, today the ED, the IT, the CBI, and now even in Maharashtra we saw the Narcotics Bureau.
Yes.
Going after the state government because it's a non-BJP government. So
True.
they become tools, pliable tools in the hands of a very authoritarian regime. And I think even the Bharatiya Janata Party's force would also say the same thing, that they might want to flaunt it. But that is how, unfortunately, institutions which are supposed to be independent are being compromised.
But anything that people can do, the party can do, the state party can do to protect, because youngsters get impacted and they started voicing against this kind of action. In fact, there was a lot of support falling in for Aryan for a surprise that the issue became small and the witch hunting became a major outburst.
Yeah, that is what is so unfortunate. Yeah. Today, the facts were speaking for themselves. The fact of the matter was that this is a bailable offense, and he was not in possession. He had not consumed. It was out there, but it kept going on and on and on, in a bid to defame the state. I think people see through this. I must say, India's democracy will continue to be very vibrant because of its people. They understand. So even if they're being forced into some particular narrative, or when they switch on the television, they continue to watch a continuous coverage on a certain issue. They see through this.
They get it there. I think the next generation thinks of their own.
I think they're way smarter than people give them credit for, and they question. They do not hesitate to question. They might fall into some particular notions, but they fall out of it also very easily, because they understand what is shown to them, and they can question that at its face value. So that is, I think, one very important fact that I noted during even the Sushant Singh Rajput, entire investigation, which was turning a totally different direction under two main channels, I would say, and I hold them responsible for, spoiling the name of journalism. A political party in the state, Bharatiya Janata Party as opposition, using it to the hilt. But people saw through this. People have seen through this, and it will continue. I would say despite all attempts, people will continue to be smarter in the systems.
In fact, I just got a question from someone in Kolkata, Ajay Chopra. He's a businessman who sends a question. Do you think media is partisan only out of fear, or that many of the anchors are themselves ideologically aligned with the government? If you have a comment on that as well.
I would always say everyone should have political choice and independence for those political choices. But bringing these political choices into your occupation, who you go to vote for, your choice, great. But bringing them into your own occupation and using that occupation as a method to influence a whole lot of generation, that I think is something that the moral conscience should be able to answer.
True.
Should you be reporting, or should you be giving your opinion?
Yes.
What's happened to investigative journalism over this Balajification of news stories? Yes. That in the hunt for TRP, we will break all barriers, because this is what people consume. This is not what people consume. So that's a bit of a problem. And I would always say, if they are interested in bringing their politics to the forefront, feel free to join political parties, rather than being under the garb of using the garb of journalism to push a particular narrative.
I think they don't want that. That is why they've run up from that. We have a short game segment again. This is to close it. It's called You Wake Up As. So if Priyanka Chaturvedi wakes up as Mamata Banerjee, what is her reaction or a statement? Very short.
A reaction would be wow.
You would like it. Okay. Nirmala Sitharaman.
My reaction would be to smile a lot more.
Really?
Yeah. It would be like, okay, so I am her. Let's smile more.
If I ask you what changes would you make as Mamata Banerjee, because I belong to Bengal, so I would like to know that.
What changes I'd like to make?
If you wake up as Mamata Banerjee,
I would say, I don't know, really. I haven't really followed her per se as such. I do know she's at this point in time invincible in West Bengal, but there's nothing I'd want to change about anyone, really.
I think if I would suggest as Priyanka, I would tell her to wear more trendy sari. You're done seeing her in that.
No, but that is actually her USP.
It's a style.
I mean, whenever she's, even if you were to put a cutout of her without her face, people would know this is Mamata Banerjee's son.
Wow.
So that's a statement.
You would be happy to be called a feminist or a strong politician?
I think both can go together.
This is
Strong
diplomatic.
feminist politician.
Okay. And as we have seen, women are called, beautiful women are looked as like only beautiful. So would you want to be called bold and beautiful, or intelligent and diplomatic?
Actually, I have no problem with good adjectives, so you can call me whatever.
Okay, you call
as
me
long as you don't undermine my capabilities on the basis of what I wear, how I look, what I speak. I mean, sometimes on non-issues, but I'd rather be who I am, what I am, and any good adjective is welcome as long as it's not negative.
I think we've saved ourselves 1 minute with you, so I'll do a quick fire with you. Most weird comment or troll till now you have received?
You have to see my replies every single date or every single tweet.
But anything that
Everyone
sticks
would come
to
in
you
that
right now?
category, really. I think not really. Nothing that comes to my mind. Unfortunately, these trolls are forgotten within 30 seconds of my responding to them.
Next time we have it and
I
we'll
do
ask
get tempted
you
to respond to some which are like really weird, but I do it.
Any sexist comment that you've received till now, by politician or not politician?
I mean, I can't even begin to get on that, and that is why I feel strongly that women should be very assertive. That for calling that misogyny out, because many times some comments are made because people are so conditioned since childhood to say that they can say what they want, but making even your colleagues aware that, listen, this was not the right comment to make, this very sexist in nature. But there have been several such instances, and would be hard to recall because almost every single day I have to face something.
But on
like
your
this,
face, has anyone come and said something?
To my face, no one would even.
Nothing.
But
You need guts to do that.
One bitter experience that I had in life, and I ensure that those people paid for it.
True.
So
you stood by it. Victorious moment as a politician till now in your life? One moment. A victory moment for you in your life? Victory
moment. I would say, I think there are many more places to go. There's nothing like victory per se, but it's also the belief that when I was questioned that will you be able to survive in politics, and I have come so far, and I have survived and I have thrived, and despite all the comments that I received, but it happens. I mean that those are small victories,
moment
small
of pride,
joys.
I think.
Yeah, moment of pride is to see my son and daughter do well in their spaces.
Wow.
I think that that's over and above all my own political career and my journey.
Something Priyanka Chaturvedi cannot stay without. Can be anything, gadget or thing, anything.
I think my phone.
Yeah.
My phone, but yes, I can't stay without my phone. And more importantly, without talking to my 2 kids before my day ends.
Wow, favorite mother, that means. Your favorite dressing style. I think a lot has been discussed about your sari and brands. We're not going to propagate it, but do you want to know? Which is your favorite brand?
Sari brand.
Sari brand, or any dressing style that you personally feel is your favorite?
I actually wear a lot of even Western clothes.
Okay.
And but sari is my preferred choice because it's extremely comfortable, and like I told somebody, even if I add more kgs to body, it manages to hide that. It's like one of these tents that covers all the ills of your body shape. So I'm sorry, but all I tried to say was that saris are my favorite, and I don't look at particular brands. I'm very, my choice is very keenly on handloom and ensuring that I'm picking up from weavers from various states.
Wow, that's interesting. And choose between time well spent with books or kids. We saw a lot of books being suggested on Instagram Reels by you. So which is your best spent time, with kids or books?
With kids.
With kids.
I need it.
You like making Instagram Reels more or tweeting more? I think you're active.
Okay, my Reels are like, I'm still learning, and my son tells me so way. I mean, so bad with it. Don't try doing too much of it. But
you're getting there.
But I'm getting there. So anytime someone says, no, you're bad with that, I try to work on it.
Okay.
So working on my Reels, that's why you probably see a lot more Reels coming in the next 2 weeks. And but I prefer tweeting because it's so much more easier.
And debates in parliament or on media screen, like television channel screen? Which one do you enjoy?
Debates everywhere. debates everywhere, because debates are the sole essence of this democracy, and
I
dissent
swear.
is a privilege that we enjoy. So let's dissent, let's debate, let's discuss, but move forward.
One moment of relaxation that you have, we generally ended up with a song by our guest. I don't know how comfortable it is for you to leave us with a tune of your favorite
I
tune
don't
or
know.
so.
I don't ever want your listeners to ever tune out because of my bad singing. I
That's
only sang once, and that song created quite
ruckus.
quite a ruckus. So I think we'll avoid that.
Any line that you want to leave us with? Anything that you associate your life journey, or you kind of believe in it? Any thought?
And which the thought that I started out with, that keep moving forward,
Wow.
despite of any challenges. Keep the only goal and focus should be to move forward,
How
not taking 10 steps backward.
your favorite song with your
I'm so
children?
sorry.
Anything, I don't know. They
No,
like
no,
English
right now,
music?
can I tell you which song I have been listening to?
Yeah, please
The
do.
only song I've been listening to is Harry Sandhu's Cinderella.
Oh
I
my
love
God.
that song. And even I don't know who sung this, but Bijli is
Yes,
one
yes.
beautiful song. I mean, these are songs, like I told somebody when I put it on Instagram, that I hope the lyrics are in no way problematic. But these are two songs I quite love just listening to.
So
Can't
I
sing
hope
them
we get
for
to
heaven's
see your
sake.
reels very soon on the step of this song. Please do make it. It's a step, that's a hook step that's going around the country. If you do that, then we have another controversy, and I would like
I keep watching how the people are doing the hook step. It's
I
so
knew everybody
complicated.
tries that out.
Yeah, it's so complicated. I'm like, I'm gonna get this, but I just
I hope
doesn't
you
work
get
for me,
it and we get
unfortunately.
something
But I
more
love
to
listening.
discuss. Then the whole parliament would be watching your hook step than anything else. But thank
Yeah,
you.
it was like the torn jeans, no?
Yes, I had the tweet picture for the tone jeans. Do you have a comment on that? How can you wear ripped jeans?
No. I think I do wear ripped jeans, and
Yeah, you should.
I think I've been a great mother to my two
Yes.
children. So for any comment to be made on ripped jeans and motherhood, or going against Indian culture, I think is so shallow, and I mean, I would say shallow mindset that you have. So I had to speak on it. I spoke on it, and it just went boom.
I hope your reel gets viral too, and we get to comment on that next time. Thank you so much for your time. It was pleasure, and I have to say, you're more beautiful than I saw you on the screen. You genuinely are. So thank you. Yes,
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you for your time. It's a pleasure to have you.